Archives of Prasar Bharati presents the timeless treasure of golden era.
Art is the reshaping of reality by man to present it in an understandable way. As the artist recreates the world around him, it is shaped by how he sees it and what he believes in. The Indian artist did not attempt to depict only the material reality around him. He wished to share the complete experience of the moment, not just the photographic presentation of the shapes around him. Beauty for the Indian artist has been a reflection of the glory of God. In fact, for the ancient artist, the experience of beauty, the ecstasy on seeing nature or art which is truly beautiful, has been considered as akin to Brahmanand or the final bliss. Join us on this journey into the heart of the Indian tradition of painting. Come with us to the gorge of the Vaghora river, where Ajanta was created, to the courts of the Mughals and the Deccani Sultans. Journey with us through the deserts of Rajasthan and the icy lands of Ladakh and Lahore Spiti. In the verdant south and in the gentle hills of the north, experience the compassionate view of life that is enshrined in Indian painting.
Art is man's deepest expression of his understanding of life. He sifts through the complex layers of the reality around him to capture in his vision what he sees as essential truths. Man's search for meanings in his life are sometimes shared best through his works of art. There is a magic in art, a new logic which reorders material realities in the shape of man's inner visions. Painting is not new to man. Since earliest times, man has painted the walls of his rock shelters and caves. Even today, these paintings are among man's most vital and creative expressions. It is amazing to see that 25,000 years ago, man's works of art were easily as lively and interesting as the best works of today. His instinctive and unschooled responses and his simple relationship with the world around him resulted in the most honest art. It is also fascinating to see that man's very earliest prehistoric paintings are as good in every way as the later prehistoric ones. It is not as though early man slowly learned to create better and more sophisticated art with the passage of time. He would have carefully observed the animals that he hunted and upon whom his survival depended. Their habits, their movements, and anatomy were closely known to him. Over 1,000 rock shelters of early man have been found in India. These are mainly in the hill ranges of central India. The paintings in these rock shelters mostly belong to two periods. The Mesolithic or prehistoric period, which ranges from 25,000 to 5,000 years before present, and the Chalcolithic or proto-historic period ranging from 5,000 to 2,500 years before present. Bhimbetka in Madhya Pradesh is one of the most magnificent rock art sites in the world.
On this large rock we have a total of 10 cup marks, and we believe that these marks are the oldest rock art known not only in India but in the entire world.
Over 500 shelters here contain paintings that are mainly of the Mesolithic period, which is 25,000 years ago to 5,000 years ago. The first thing which strikes one here is the grand spectacle of nature. Early man was very conscious of the glory and rugged beauty of his environment. The dramatic nature of the soaring rock formations brings alive the drama of the life of early man. How he may have lived, hunted and made his home in these rock shelters.
Behind me we can see a large archaeological excavation from which evidence was produced that people lived here hundreds of thousands of years ago. The stone tools that were excavated here were broken from rocks such as this one, and we can see the scars along this edge where the stones were removed by hitting them, and we have stone tools.
His was a world filled with the sights, sounds and the fragrances of nature. The changes in the weather, thunder and rainstorms, the movement of herds of animals, the spots where the bees made their hives, the sounds of birds and the calls of animals. This was the reality of the world for early man.
The people of very early prehistory had an extremely acute sense of perception, probably much more acute than modern people. And they were aware of many things that modern humans would not be noticing. For instance, very fine differences in the acoustic of rock shelters and caves. So they were perfectly aware that there were differences about locations that are not directly perceptible.
The stupendous record of man's life has survived thousands of storms and all the forces of nature across a vast span of time. Here we feel an immediate and direct connection to the beginnings of man upon this earth. The universal quality of art is such that we are able to appreciate and respond to his paintings so completely even today. Their thoughts, their fears, the herds of animals they may have hunted, all come alive. These paintings are indeed a great record, stretching across hundreds of thousands of years.
Many people believe that art increasingly became more sophisticated through history. We think that this is incorrect, and we have a good example here of prehistoric art that is just as sophisticated as anything that can be produced today.
The most common paintings at Bhimbetka are of animals such as the cheetal, boar, buffalo, gaur, monkey and langur. These drawings are very realistically executed and show the animals in many postures and moods.
उन आर्टिस्ट का एक्सप्रेशन बहुत अच्छा था, क्योंकि जहाँ उन्होंने किसी एनिमल को दिखाया है कि वो उंडेड है, उसके तीर लग चुका है या भाला लग चुका है, तो उसके चेहरे पर उसका पेन भी आप देख सकते हैं इन पेंटिंग्स में। तो ये जो पेंटिंग्स है ये किसी तरीके से इन्फीरियर नहीं है इन द कंटेक्स्ट ऑफ एक्सप्रेशन। तो इस तरह से ये पेंटिंग्स बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट है।
What has changed is not so much the sophistication of art, but the ways that humans perceive reality. This, of course, is something that has changed throughout human history, and our way of perceiving reality differs significantly from the ways that prehistoric people through the ages have seen reality and have experienced physical, material existence.
Art in the beginning of man's existence on earth was deeply connected to his life. Man saw his role as a small one in the eternal dance of nature. He knew that he depended upon the great forces of nature which he could not control. For prehistoric man, the magic of the vision captured in his paintings may have been an aid to achieve what he wanted in reality. The many layers of paintings, sometimes superimposed one on top of another, suggest a ritualistic or magical purpose of some of the prehistoric art. It may have been believed that if an animal could be conquered in a painting, the same would happen in the actual hunt. In the magical world of the painting, the spirit of the actual animal to be hunted could perhaps be captured. The spirit which was now within the painted image was then symbolically defeated. This would surely have had an effect of boosting the morale of the hunter. The world presented in these paintings is one of harmonious living with nature. We see the eternal dance of the cosmos, where men, women and animals each perform a role for which they are best suited. The artists have depicted various facets of the life of the community. The most popular subject is the hunt, which must have been the most important and challenging part of life and survival then. The hunt was usually carried out in large groups as well as in groups of 2 to 3 men. Sometimes a narrative is created in these larger scenes, with minor incidents also finding depiction. The rock shelters of Raisen are not visited by many people. They again remind us of the fact that prehistoric man was deeply conscious of the beauty of the world around him. Coming to these sites, even today, we feel transported into a world of unspoiled nature.
The preservation of rock paintings is adversely affected both by the ravages of time and the effects of human visitation in modern times. Many sites are much damaged, but here we have selected a site near Bhopal which is particularly well preserved. This site is much better preserved because there has been comparatively little visitation by humans, and it is not so well known. It is not a public site. The paintings here are excellently preserved in comparison to anything anywhere in the world. This area here was used for grinding some substance. It could have been used for grinding food, but I think it is more likely that it was used for grinding pigment for painting the rock surfaces. In this beautifully decorated shelter, people have been living for thousands of years, perhaps even tens of thousands of years. The occupation evidence is still visible on the floor around us, but the shelter is still being used today, as you can see from this modern fireplace here. The age of these paintings is not precisely known, but we do believe that they are anything up to 10,000 years old. I would perhaps suggest that the majority of what we can see here could be in the order of 5,000 years.
The paintings in the shelters of Raisen tell of early man's highly developed technical skills. We see here herds of animals which stand out from the rock surface in a striking way. This has been achieved by using white lines to highlight the darker ones. The effect is remarkable. Mirzapur is the first area where prehistoric rock art was found in India. The painted shelters in and around Mirzapur are situated on picturesque spots on top of low hillocks overlooking a valley. Mirzapur is second only to Bhimbetka in its importance to the world of archaeology and art history. It is interesting that though men and animals have been shown in considerable detail, there is no effort to describe the landscape and the vegetation. Another body of art which is not self-conscious and presents us an uncomplicated view of life close to nature is that of the tribals. We see prolific wall paintings still today in the homes of the many tribes in Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat, Jharkhand and other places. There is a deep affinity in these to the rock art of early man, and they present a continuation of his striking and lively tradition of painting. One of the very recent discoveries of rock art is in the Hazaribagh area of Jharkhand. Here we see many similarities between these paintings and those of the tribals of the region till today.
Over here, this is a very popular form. As you can see, this is a form of the mother goddess with a lotus in the place of the head. And we can also see that it is a temple over here with 3 openings. Another similar, very common manifestation is a design of the sun. The mandalas or chowks that are made even now in the villages are exactly like this. We have wheeled figures in the Sorai painting, which we see again over here. Clearly, Khova and Sorai art of the villages today manifests the same iconography. So this is the source of the village paintings of today. This has been dated at around about 4000 BC. So it means we do have evidence of a rock art which is not only very similar but almost identical to the marriage and harvest paintings, the Khova and Sorai paintings of the entire Upper Damodar Valley, the North Kanpura Valley, as well as the Hazaribagh Plateau.
Rituals are used to give meaning and a shape to the life around. Incomprehensible confusions are molded into meaningful patterns by rituals. Rituals seem to impart a sense of peace to man. They take him above momentary concerns to a place where life is seen in other patterns and rhythms. Even some of the gods worshipped today draw their roots from the beliefs of man at the dawn of humankind. His relationship with the world around him, with nature, and with animals was a constant and fascinating concern for early man. The vitality and beauty of rock art comes from the clear sight and uncluttered mind of the prehistoric man. The complexities and self-consciousness which have come about with the progress of civilization are not there to curb his spontaneous expression. He creates these simple paintings which are full of exuberant life and joyous creative expression. Only that which is the most essential is depicted in both men and animals. These simple lines, drawn with instinctive understanding, bring alive animals of all kinds upon the walls. There is a close empathy with the animal world and nature. There is a purpose of life and definitely an order in the world's existence. Man seems to know and accept his place in the world that he lives in. Each figure and animal made by man thus seems ever new. It is as if he is finding the beauty in men and animals afresh every time he makes them. That is what the best art always hopes to achieve. With a minimum use of lines, the prehistoric man conveys so much, even of feelings and a sense of movement. Art fulfills humanity's innate urge to comprehend itself and the universe. This function makes art especially significant. In the classic tradition of India, It is stated that the aesthetic experience is most valuable to human beings. It is believed that the ecstasy created by beauty is in fact a fleeting view of Brahmanand, or the ecstasy of enlightenment. Early man certainly had a deep aesthetic sense. He took great pleasure in the beauty of nature around him, and his paintings display the joy he took in the creation of art. Seeing the panorama of man's paintings from thousands of years ago, we realize how fundamental and important art has always been to man. It has provided the magic in human existence, that which helps man transcend mundane realities and to rise to something higher and better, to see himself as part of a grand design of the world. It is fascinating to see that these images, created by prehistoric man so many millennia ago, are real and evocative to us even today. These paintings tell us of the universal nature of human experience and expression spread over this vast span of time.